Tonight we gather to honor our 2021 awards recipients and to celebrate our 50 years as the Public Interest Bar Association for the District of Columbia. Washington Council of Lawyers has always been a public interest voice in the legal community. We have a distinguished history of striving to ensure that our legal system treats everyone fairly, regardless of money, position, or power. Over the years, our advocacy, mentoring, and training have advanced important causes and fostered a strong public interest community. Some things have changed, but our pursuit of justice remains the same. I invite you to look back with us on 50 years of promoting pro bono service and public interest law, and then join us as we continue to strive toward greater justice for all.
In May of 1971, one of the most significant anti-war demonstrations occurred, and it was the May Day demonstrations, when a number of radical groups and others had called for a huge assemblage of people in Washington to protest, I think it was the Cambodian incursion. And as a result, thousands and thousands of people came. They were intent on really disrupting things. And we saw this coming, the council did. We had a number of meetings about it. We decided that one way to respond was to be sure that if there was violence, if there was police abuse, that we would have some ability to essentially document it. As a result, the council recruited, I believe, 100 legal advisors. And as has been recounted at other times, we assigned them to go throughout the city wearing orange armbands, certifying that they were legal observers, to see what was happening and to hopefully, in so doing, check any abuses. First significant test of the council's ability to recruit large numbers of volunteers and mobilize them in a way that I think actually served a very valuable service. I think a dozen council members were actually swept up in those arrests and jailed, at least for a while. We also, I think, assisted in the effort to get legal representation for a lot of these people, and consequently, they ultimately were released and vindicated in the end.
When I was president, we started, it was at the beginning of the Reagan administration, and we started doing advocacy around issues that were, that came up as a result of this new, very right-wing administration that was, very much opposed to many of the things that we were very concerned about. So the thing that I remember that I was really proud of that started during the time that I was president was this report on the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department and the changes that were being made by the Reagan administration to undercut civil rights enforcement. And it was a massive undertaking. Most of the board members worked on it. We had many members who were not board members who also participated. We interviewed people who were in the Justice Department and who were willing to take a risk, actually, talking to us. We met sort of surreptitiously outside of business hours and interview these people, and we talked about what was happening in the Justice Department. And then we wrote a report, and that report was, was sort of very well received. There was a lot of publicity about it. I think it brought to people's attention things that were going on in the Justice Department that maybe weren't quite as well known as they should have been, that were undercutting civil rights enforcement, or not just in the DC area, but around the country. So I was very proud of it.
During my term as president of the Washington Council of Lawyers, we were at a really difficult time in the District of Columbia in terms of how the community was changing economically and geographically. There were shifts based on income, and there were shifts based on race. And a lot of the people who had been living in the District of Columbia for generations, whose families had been here for generations, were feeling pushed out. Gentrification was really starting to take heed in the district, and a lot of people were starting to feel displaced. And I felt that as an organization, again, that looks out for the underserved, for the communities that have less power and don't necessarily have the opportunity to have as strong of a voice as they would like to have, that this was an issue we should be talking about. I didn't know what the solutions were to it, but I know that the only way you can deal with an issue is first by having a conversation about it and trying to identify what are the variables that are impacting this issue and how does the community feel about it and what do they want to say, and we wanted people to be heard. So we decided to focus during that year on the issue of housing in the District of Columbia and how the shifts in housing and how the issue of gentrification was impacting the district, and to explore what is our role as lawyers.
The Summer Pro Bono Forum has long been one of my favorite programs, and I think one of the most influential of the council's events. Through the forum, we've been able to introduce summer associates to public interest icons like Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Brian Stevenson, and this year to Eric Holder. And through the various topic-related panels, we were able to expose them to the wealth of public interest groups in DC. For nearly 20 years, I can't believe it's been that long, I have coordinated with Marsha Tucker the pro bono non-litigation panel, and I always look forward to seeing my panelists again and see them engage and inspire the students attending. When I was in law school, we had no similar event inside our law school or outside the law school. I think this is the first step in creating our next generation of pro bono and public interest lawyers. And I think it's a great legacy of the councils.
You know, there's no one thing that I was proudest of in those days of early involvement in the council. It was more the overall experience of it that made me really glad to be on the board and then president of the council. The commitment to pro bono, to public interest, and the people. It was a group of people who became lifelong friends, many of whom I still have close relationships with, all expressing the need to do what could be done to lessen the problems of access to justice in the city. And we worked every day to try to be the best spokesman we could for that value of pro bono and public interest lawyering in the city at a time when it was really, really important that that voice be heard every day.